Ever since I was a little boy, one of my main goals was to actually be able to move out of my parents' house. When I was very young, my parents ended up getting a divorce, and I quickly went from being the little kid playing with my Star Wars action figures to being the shoulder that my parents leaned on, to being the man of the house, to being the person that my father could share his emotional struggles with, to being the therapist of the household, really. And while I didn't know what was really going on, it was difficult for me to be able to process hearing about the financial struggles, about having to navigate which parent to trust. And I think instinctually I said, I just need to go on my own because I can love myself and because I have to give myself a moment to just decompress. It's unreal to think now as an adult looking back how exhausted I was as a child and how honestly I am still having to recover from the years of just being drained. But that goal of mine as a young kid quickly kind of began to disappear. I was continuously put into or put myself into situations that I was the therapist for my friends. I was the person that was at the grocery store, would help out somebody, grab something off the shelf, and all of a sudden I'm listening to their lifelong trials and tribulations. And it's not something that I'm not happy about. I love that people feel like they can come to me and open up about their life. But the problem is that I was just sucking in every ounce of the emotional situations they were going through. And what it was just burying my own trauma, my own anger, my own sadness even further in, to where I honestly lost track of it. I lost track of who I was. I was so busy living everyone else's life, trying to make sure that I wasn't a burden onto them, that I didn't even know who I was. Before I knew it, I was working the endless 9-to-5 grind of corporate America. I started working at a financial institution at 19. So, of course, what I go into is working retail finance. What better of a place for people to come and bury me with their concerns financially and some of their other life issues that they're going through. And what I would do is, as a person that really cares about others, is I would give them everything that I had, and I would leave feeling exhausted, nothing left to give to myself. But I was thinking about everything all wrong, because it wasn't until anxiety took over my life to where I literally could not function in society did I realize that all of the emotion that I was sucking in for so many years balled my own trauma, my own anger, and my sadness so tight that it had to be released in some way. So that is the anxiety that I felt, was the fear that as it was going to explode, I was going to hurt somebody. I was going to say something that I didn't mean, that I was going to do something that was going to affect my life forever. It wasn't until I actually began working with my therapist and realized that this is a honest life or death situation, that I have to give myself love, because if I do not make myself the priority, I am not going to be able to put one step in front of the other and walk towards the light at the end of the dark tunnel. So when I began telling no to people, to doing things that I wanted to do, to being honest and saying, I honestly can't hear about this right now, I'm going through my own situations, I'm very sorry, did I start to be able to give myself a little bit of energy that I needed to be able to taking one step in front of the other a little bit quicker. And I was able to break free of the anxiety, and I was able to have enough love for myself that I was able to really impact others, to really be able to sit there, listen to what they said, give a genuine and honest response, and then move on and love myself still. But the moral of the story is when I ended up actually getting the opportunity to move out of my parents' house, to being able to move into a one-bedroom apartment in Austin, Texas, completely self-reliant, did I actually call my mom crying because I felt so much guilt for letting my mom be by herself, for not being able to be there if she needed me, because I felt like I was letting her down. And what I was doing is I was releasing traumas that I felt as a 6, 7, 8-year-old little boy. And the moment that I shut the door on them when they left from like my housewarming party, did I sit there on the couch and realize how badly I needed to be selfish, how badly I needed to be alone and to be able to process through all of these traumas that I was experiencing. And what came was an immense amount of anger, an immense amount of sadness, because these were locked away for so long. And I'm now about 6 months in living on my own, and I've never felt happier. I've never felt healthier. I'm about to take tremendous more risk in my life, furthering what my passion is, because now I actually know. And I'm able to sit down with clients and have real, genuine conversations with them. And I just want to share this story real quick because I think that it's really important. I had a client maybe 4 months ago, and he came in and he was very upset with the relationship he had with his son. And he kept saying, I have no idea why I'm telling you this. And inside I'm like, I'm used to it. But I kind of just was like, no, tell me what's on your mind. And he tells me about how his son is moving in with his mom, and just all of these difficulties that they were experiencing. And he said, I'm going to disown my son because I cannot forgive him for the words that he said. And I told him, I said, I know that it's none of my business, and I don't know what it is that you're truly going through. But I just want to share from the perspective of the kid that I was in his very same shoes. And that he said things that I wish I would have said as a kid, but not because I meant it, because there was just so much anger and sadness within. I said, please just give him another shot. Give him a moment to where he can feel like he can open up to you, because he's just trying to escape. And he was very thankful for the words that I said, and he left, and I didn't know what was going to happen with that, and I just gave him 5 minutes of my time of just being open and honest. And 2 days ago he called. He started crying on the phone, and he told me that he and his son were able to rebuild the relationship. He said because of the words that I had shared with him, that him and his son are now living together and are rebuilding each other's lives. I wouldn't have been able to say that 12 months ago because I was so drained that I didn't even be able to give people the time of day to be able to truly help them. But because of my selfish behaviors of giving myself love, saying what it is that I needed to do, I was able to ultimately be truly selfless, because I was able to have just enough love for me to be able to know that I am okay, and to be able to give the reserves that I had to others. So what I just want to say is, make yourself the priority. You're living your life. You're not living anyone else's life. You need to be the priority. Do what it is that you want to do, because you'll end up being happier and healthier to be able to help others later on down the road. Thank you so much.